these guys' position on a terror watch list get changed? Like wiped off? We're going to ask General Jack Keane why another big name was left off an important warning altogether. The annual list of American enemies released by Director of National Intelligence James Clapper missing two major entities, or is it? Hezbollah and its backer, Iran. Clapper even praises that country for helping to de-escalate threats. As early as 2013, Iran and Hezbollah were listed in the table of contents under the terrorism heading. Just 1 year ago, they were listed again in a section on terror. Clapper even going as far as saying, quote, Hezbollah has increased its global terrorist activity in recent years to a level that we have not seen since the 1990s. Well, that brings us to this year, when both are off the terror listing, though Iran was on a separate list of growing cyber threats. Retired General Jack Keane is the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and a Fox News military analyst and very, very familiar with both of these groups. General, good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, so we are told by way of explanation that essentially they were recategorized, they were put in a different place in the report, but they're missing from those very prominent sections. What do you make of this?
Well, it seems like there's a pattern, in the sense that it's not being emphasized as much. Obviously, it's in the report, but it's not where it normally would be. You know, the Hezbollah is on this Department of State and Department of Treasury terrorist list, but the pattern started, I think, back in 2009, when the president sent the first letter to Khomeini, and thousands of people, mass demonstration in the streets in Tehran for the first time ever in the history of the regime, and we did nothing to support it. There seems to be this pattern of de-emphasizing Iran's influence in the region, and certainly its number one proxy organization, its number one terrorist organization is Hezbollah, which is responsible for nothing less than almost 2,000 American deaths and many thousands more from 1980 all the way through 2008. It is quite staggering when you add up and put together what they have done to us. And certainly if anybody deserves to be on that list, they do.
All right, so specifically with regard to Iran, and this is called the Worldwide Threat Assessment. It's unclassified. It's out there for anybody who wants to read it. This is what the assessment says about Iran. It's praised for its intentions to dampen sectarianism, build responsive partners, and de-escalate tensions with Saudi Arabia. How in the world does it go from the year before being both a regional threat to the Middle East and a cyber terror threat to now getting praised for being doing good things or being a good guy in that region?
And, you know, this is an absolute absurdity. This is all under the umbrella of the administration's desire for rapprochement with Iran. And you look at what they truly have done in the near term. The Assad regime, Shannon, was about to fall in 2011. Many people on this network, to include myself, said it's a matter of weeks and months. Quds Force Commander Qasem Soleimani, 5,000 Hezbollah, thousands of Iraq Shia militia, and the Quds Force themselves all on the ground to prop up that regime and truly saved it and changed the momentum against the rebel forces. There is no doubt that this organization and the Iranian supreme leader and what they're doing is trying to gain control and establish regional hegemony of the Middle East. That's what they are all about, and we can never take their eyes off of that. Every time we think about the Middle East, you must put first and foremost, ahead of ISIS, I would suggest, and ahead of Al-Qaeda, is Iran. Their strategic objective is to dominate the Middle East, and they are beginning to succeed at that. When you look at Iraq, Shannon, we're not going to lose Iraq to ISIS, but we may lose Iraq to Iran, given their gaining influence in Iraq, not just politically, but now even militarily on the ground. And
in the meantime, we tend to continue negotiating with them for years now over a potential nuclear program, which I'm sure they want only for peace, which is what they have said. In the meantime, I want to quickly ask you about, speaking of Syria and Assad, this report that Syria downed one of our drones, a U.S. Predator drone in that area. We don't know if it was shot down or if it lost control or what happened, but apparently this was in an area that was not an ISIS area of concern, and so Syria apparently is saying they took it down.
Well, they may have. Certainly our drones are vulnerable to attack. I mean, they don't fly that fast, and if you got some kind of radar, you can certainly pick it up and deal with it. It's not a passive situation there in the sense that Syria does have an air defense system that's capable of doing that. We have a lot of interest in Syria, Shannon, for us to have our eyes out there looking at it. There's a significant Jabhat al-Nusra, which is a major al-Qaeda organization that operates in Syria. We're very concerned about what they're doing. We attacked them from the air before as part of the Khorasan group, if you can remember that. And, of course, we're tracking also what the regime is doing. So those are three things that we're doing in two things we're doing in Syria in addition to ISIS. And I'm sure we've got surveillance over that country, as we rightfully should.
All right. General, always good to see you. Thank you, sir.